The second year rate improved to 89.1% with the 2013 cohort. And the third year rate, which mirrors the second year rate, is expected that the 2013 cohort third year rate will also increase. On page 8, Exhibit 3 compares the MTech traditional first-time full-time graduation rate indicated by the black line to the revised USM measure, which uses the fiscal year cohort. While the first-time full-time rate has remained fairly steady at about 73% for the past two cohorts, the rate for the fiscal year cohort has steadily increased to 74%, exceeding that of the first-time full-time student. Exhibit 4 on page 9 shows what happens to first-time full-time and first-time transfers 6 years after enrolling at Salisbury. The pattern bars show the transfer students, and as you can see, they do graduate at a higher rate than the first-time full-time students. Exhibit 5 on page 10 shows education and related expenditures per degree and compares Salisbury, which is represented by the black line, to its peers, and Salisbury consistently falls below that of its peers. Discussion of the budget starts on page 14. Exhibit 6 on page 12 shows the proposed budget. General funds increased by $2.5 million and HEF by almost $200,000, resulting in an overall growth of state funds of 5.6% or $2.7 million. Salisbury will also receive $400,000 of enhancement funds, which we will use to provide financial aid to transfer students. Budget changes by program area are shown on page 13 and Exhibit 7. The declines in spending in 2016 are due to spending less on facility renewal in the case of the operations and maintenance of plant, and less on contractual services in public service. In terms of revenue in 2016, you'll see a decrease in other unrestricted funds, and this is due to revenues from the Del Mar Public Radio not being included in 16 but less in 17. In 17, spending increases 6.5% or $7.9 million. Spending increase of $4.2 million in operations and maintenance of plant is related to the opening of the new academic commons and increasing spending on facility renewals. And the $1 million increase in instruction is related to including facilities renewal that wasn't included in 16. And the increases in other areas are just really basically due to increases in personnel costs. Exhibit 8 on page 15 shows these expenditures on a per FTES basis. The largest increase of $1,450 occurred in 2015, and this is despite $1.7 million in cost containment, which, if you may recall, was met by a 2% mid-year tuition increase. So most of their spending was related to instruction and maintenance of plant. The first issue, meeting college expenses, begins on page 16, but Exhibit 9 is on page 17, and this shows spending on institutional aid. From 2011 to 2015, spending increased by $2.5 million, totaling to $6.2 million. And during this time, spending on need-based aid grew by 91% or $1.7 million. And this is due to using additional revenue generated from an annual 6% tuition increase between 2012 and 2015. Exhibit 10 on page 18 shows the distribution of needs-based aid and how it has changed between 2010 and 2015. And the portion of awards going to the Pell eligible students increased from 15 to 38%. And in general, the average awards increased for across all ESC categories. Exhibit 11 on page 19 shows the distribution of the scholarships over the same time period. Numbers of scholarships have increased 70%, and the portion of awards going to students with an ESC greater than 20,000 or unknown increased from 85.5% to 90%. Exhibit 12 on page 20 shows the average loan taken out by students. And overall, the highest loans taken out were the parents' loans, with students with an ESE between $7,000 and $999 taking out the highest loan with an average loan over $13,000. In terms of overall student debt, in 2014, 57% of Salisbury's students graduated with an average debt of a little over $24,500, and this is below the national average of 61% and $27,000 of debt. The last issue, test optional admissions, is discussed on page 21. In 2007, the Regents approved Salisbury's plan to conduct a 5-year pilot program making the submission of ACT and SAT scores optional. And based on the results in the pilot program in which the test optional students performed as well or better than regular MITs, the Regents permanently exempted Salisbury from the USM admission policy requiring the test scores. As shown on both sides on this page, of the 8,360 fall applicants, 2,128 applied under the test optional program, and of those, 446 enrolled. Now, Salisbury hoped that this would attract a more diverse pool of applicants, and it appears to have done so, with 49% of all minority students that are enrolled under the test optional admissions, and 30% of received the Pell Grant compared to 16% of those who were regular admits. On page 22, Exhibit 13 compares the second-year rate of the test optional students, which, as you can see, is comparable to that of the regular admits. And page 14 on page 23 shows the 4- and 6-year graduation rates. And as you can see, the test optional students consistently graduated at a higher rate than the regular admits. Recommendations are on page 24, and as per the governor's allowance. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions of the audience? Madam President?
Madam Chair, it is a pleasure to be here. Members of the subcommittee, thank you for your good work. To my left is my Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Diane Allen. To my right, the Vice President for Administration and Finance, Marvin Piles. We're very excited today that the Mayor of the City of Salisbury is also here, Mayor Jake Day, and former Bartomico City Councilman Tony Sarbanes, and also Councilman Jack Heath. But, you know, the real rock stars are our students, and I would just, I'd like very briefly, just to have our students, most are standing, but if you're not standing, would you stand, and let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you for being here.
It's because of them that I say I've got the best job in the world. You know, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to testify again before the Maryland General Assembly to discuss the budget, our accomplishments, and some persistent challenges. And publicly, I want to thank each and every one of you, Governor Hogan, for working so diligently to manage the state's fiscal challenges, particularly in recent years. Your strong support for the University System of Maryland speaks to your dedication to ensure that Maryland's workforce is well prepared to compete in the emerging economy of the 21st century. You know, the state has a very ambitious plan for degree completion and workforce development, and we all know we must keep an eye on efficiency and effectiveness. So it's all the more important that funds need to be invested at institutions such as Salisbury University, which have demonstrated significant progress towards those objectives. We believe we offer a great return on investment, offering strong results at significantly lower cost to the state of Maryland and to our students. We have been named a model of efficiency by University Business Magazine, and for the 4th year in a row, we've been highlighted by DLS in their fiscal overview. And as the analysts point out, and I'm quoting from the DLS document, SU in particular has a graduation rate of 72% while receiving the least revenue per FTE, that's full-time equivalent students statewide. Additionally, Salisbury University offers the highest number of degrees per 100 FTEs while receiving the least amount of resources per student. And if you have my testimony in front of you and you look at figures 1 and 2, which again comes directly from DLS documents, you'll see what I'm talking about. So again, I keep thinking of that business person's term, return on investment. And of course, I'm always arguing for the past 16 and a half years, that additional resources should be devoted to institutions that have the capacity to grow in enrollment and effectively and efficiently graduate students. Salisbury University can graduate a student for nearly $30,000 below the average cost of other USM institutions. If you look at figure 3, that's what that represents. We boast at Salisbury some of the highest graduation and retention rates while maintaining the lowest average time to degree. We remain among the state's most affordable options for graduating high school seniors as you look at our peers outside of the state of Maryland and here in Maryland. While institutions across the state and country are experiencing a decline in the number of applications, our demand remains strong. For this year's class, that is the fall class of 2015, nearly 8,400 students applied to fill a class of just under 1,200 seats. So the demand is strong. As figures 8 and 9 demonstrate, Salisbury University has consistently remained at the bottom. We tend to switch places with Towson, but we remain at the bottom in terms of funding within the university system of Maryland. That's E&G revenue as well as general fund appropriation. This underfunding, you know, and it's great to say, yeah, we like these accolades regarding our efficiency, but they come at a price, namely increased costs for students. That is, as compared to some of the other institutions, a higher percentage of our revenue comes from student tuition and fees. Again, that's a factor of our general fund appropriation. And unfortunately, we don't have the commensurate resources to offset those costs with financial aid. Figure 10 highlights that Salisbury University has the highest percentage of student loans compared to the rest of the university system of Maryland. With our low time to degree and lowest cost per degree, the big question, I think, is why would the state not invest more resources at Salisbury University, where we can produce higher numbers of graduates in less time and at a lower cost? Now, as I brought to your attention the last budget cycle, an additional challenge that results from the level of general fund support is that our faculty and staff workloads are among the highest in the state. And this is demonstrated in my testimony in figures 12, 13, and 14. This is to say that our student to faculty and student to staff ratios are among the highest in the university system. And again, if you look at peer data outside of this state, that's also the case. We definitely need generous general fund support to hire the staff that we need. This is particularly alarming for us, and it's an issue that Chancellor Corrett and Vice Chancellor Vivona and I have been working on as we seek to open Salisbury University's new 218,000 square foot, what we're calling the Academic Commons. It's the Patricia R. Guerreri Academic Commons, which is on track to open in August 2016 from the perspective of construction. However, as many of you will know, typically when a major new facility opens, resources are provided to hire the staff that's necessary. For example, it's not that I can't wield a broom, but we do need to hire custodial staff. Again, 218,000 square feet. We need to be able to hire the additional librarians and staff, mechanics, etc., necessary for that building. And unfortunately, in this year's budget at present, no resources have been provided for that purpose. Any support that this committee, others may have in this regard, obviously is much appreciated. Salisbury University continues to lead the way through innovative programming designed to improve our outcomes and to move the state's economy forward. A recent economic analysis, some of you may have seen, appeared in the Daily Record and elsewhere, notes that Salisbury University contributes some $480 million to the economy of the lower Eastern Shore and supports nearly 3,000 jobs. We are among the leading economic engines of the entire Eastern Shore, and for that matter, all of Delmarva. If Salisbury University were given the green light and the concomitant funding support to grow in student enrollment, the lower Eastern Shore clearly would benefit as it would realize additional economic growth. Salisbury University, in addition, is in the process of working with a donor to establish a freestanding Center for Entrepreneurship. Now, what do I mean by that? We would not be turning to the state for dollars to support that center. We have been gifted a building in downtown Salisbury. That is where we would intend to put our Center for Entrepreneurship. It's our hope that by providing accelerator, incubator, and co-working space paired with business support services, we'll be able to continue the great work that our Purdue School of Business is doing while supporting the revitalization of downtown and job creation in our region. One of the things you may note with some interest in my testimony relates to, and I don't know if you have been hearing a lot of this term, performance analytics. We are increasingly using data that's available. We're trying to collect data to make decisions to ensure that we are putting all of our resources to the best use. Through the creation of a dashboard system, campus advisors are now able to monitor student progress towards degree goals and receive periodic updates regarding potentially risky patterns of behavior. And by that I mean academic. The tool has been enormously useful in counseling students into degree programs that best suit their needs and their abilities. And this tool is also being used to facilitate targeted outreach programs to potential at-risk students so that they get the academic support they need in their chosen fields. We want them to persist, and we want to hand them their degrees, and we'd like to be able to do that in a maximum of 4 years. These analytics will inform our resource allocation decisions and help to create further a culture of data-driven decision-making at Salisbury University. It will help ensure that we are, again, effectively utilizing all of the resources with which we've been entrusted by the state. In terms of student success, over the past several years, we've worked hard to implement low-cost programs to sustain and improve our already very high retention and graduation rates. Now, I'm not going to go into that in great detail in the interest of time. These are outlined in my written testimony. Salisbury University was selected as one of 44 institutions nationwide to participate in the American Association of State Colleges and Universities Reimagining the First Year of College program. If my provost looks a bit weary, it's because she's been in the thick of that and is leading that effort. This is a new project which is designed to encourage and really ensure that we follow up with these students who are having academic difficulties. We want to ensure their success, particularly those students who've been traditionally underserved by higher education. We're talking about low-income, first-generation students and students of color. This program was developed with the support of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the goal is to create a robust collection of integrated strategies and programs to maximize student success for traditionally vulnerable populations. And you know, as we're on this topic, in the wake of events in Baltimore and throughout our nation, our institution, and really a hallmark of my presidency, has been to put greater attention on underrepresented groups and greater attention to diversity issues, equity, and inclusion. I provide an appendix for appendix number 3 so that you may have some detailed information on Salisbury University's commitments to addressing these issues. And also, with this regard, it's important to note that our students really have taken a leadership role. One of our student leaders by the name of Matthew Jackson. Matthew, are you here today? No, he's not, but he was here. Is really taking some leadership as we deal with some rather difficult issues. Ensuring that our campus is comprised of diverse students, faculty, and staff is really key to our mission. We want to ensure that every member of our campus community has had a rich and marketable experience of learning, working, and growing alongside individuals of many backgrounds.
Madam President?
Yes, ma'am.
There were no issues with the analysts with your budget. And as I said, I don't mean to cut you off.
Okay.
But I am.
Okay.
So, because we, our second, there are some questions there, so. if you
Okay,
just-
I will then, thank you, Madam Chairman. I hope you'll take time to look through the testimony. I know you're all very busy, but we would greatly appreciate that. Let me end by saying that we join with all USM institutions in asking the General Assembly to support the governor's budget and the decision to fund our mandatory cost increases, which, as you know, are due to rising insurance premiums and retirement benefits. And we ask that you reject the DLS recommendation regarding reductions in health deficiency and personnel costs. So as you can see, obviously at Salisbury University, we're all very proud. We believe we are a leader in efficient and effective higher education resource management and results. And as the state looks to complete, to boost its completion rates while maximizing resources, we believe that we are important players in that effort. So thank you all, Madam President, excuse me, that would be me, Madam Chair, for your continued support and for your service to the great state of Maryland. We're very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, students, for coming in and for having lunch for those of us who stopped in today for Salisbury University. Thank you very much.
No questions?
Any questions of the subcommittee? Delegate Evans.
Thank you. I have one quick question, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm asking this of almost all of the universities that come before us. There was a piece of legislation passed last year that requires a survey of sexual assault on campus by March 1, and just wanted to know where you are on that.
It's gone out. It has gone out on our campus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Thank you all.
And there were two individuals who signed up, Mayor Jake Day and the Honorable Tony Sarbanes. We can give you 2 minutes. And less is great.
Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee, my name is Jake Day. I'm the mayor of Salisbury, and I'm also a lieutenant in the Army National Guard, and it is rare that I get to go before a former general in the Army, but I will be very, very, very brief. I want to say this. There are about 9,000 students at Salisbury University, and they produce about 2,000 graduates a year. And we have recognized in the city of Salisbury that they represent the very future of our economy. It's not just about the $480 million in economic impact annually, it's about the very future of our city. We have recently developed a master plan for our downtown, and this is actually a product of a partnership with the University System of Maryland. And this master plan acknowledges that long-term commitment to the future of our community. You're not going to find a city council, and I do have the president of the city council here with me, or a mayor that is more in lockstep with our university president than in Salisbury. And just a couple quick things. City taxpayers are investing in a prize through the entrepreneurship competition that Salisbury University hosts. We're investing in our downtown trolley. We're investing in a co-working space or a partnership in co-working in downtown Salisbury, particularly through a program that assists graduates in buying a house and getting space in a co-working space in downtown. And we recognize that through these partnerships and through our investment, the value of this university to the future of our economy and our community. And we're very, very hopeful that this subcommittee, that the Appropriations Committee, and that the Maryland Legislature continues to support Salisbury University. I'm going to stop now, and I thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, lady, my name is Tony Sarbanes. I'm a member of the Town Gown Committee at Salisbury University and former president of the Wycomico County Council, and a very, very strong supporter of Salisbury University, although I'm not a graduate of that fine institution. But my wife, son, and daughter all have degrees from there, so I am, because of that, a very, very strong supporter of what's happening there and of the president, who's doing an outstanding job. There are 3 items I'd like to touch on very briefly, if I could. One, SU fully supports the governor's budget and appreciates the administration's fully funding mandatory cost increases and providing $6.8 million in enhancement funds for college completion, accessibility, and affordability. Salisbury University will use our share of that fund, $400,000, to boost financial aid awards, to increase transfer student matriculation and incentivize academic success. The second item, Dr. Janet Dudley-Eshbach has covered briefly, but I'd like to emphasize it. Salisbury University is still concerned about $2.3 million in funds not allocated to open and staff the Patricia Guerreri Academic Commons, as it is customary when the state brings a new academic facility online. Should you be in the area, please go see that facility. It's just going to be a landmark facility on that campus. This state-of-the-art facility will serve as our new campus hub for learning, technology, academic support services, and social engagement. These requested dollars directly support between 24 and 30 critical positions that will help manage the facility and care for its infrastructure. As the least funded institution in the entire university system of Maryland, per full-time equivalent student, yet the second highest performing one, this is a cost that we simply cannot afford to absorb. We're working on a supplemental budget request for the governor's office, and we urge your support of that item. The third item, as Salisbury University was grateful to receive $575,000.
Sir, do we have your written testimony? Can we get
yeah,
that?
I'm going to leave it, but I'm almost done.
But your 2 minutes are up. I hate to do this to you.
Well, let me say this to you briefly. We're building a new facility at the stadium. I've been on that turf. It's worn out. It needs to be replaced. There's $575,000 in there. It needs to stay in there and be funded.